Money doesn't just come from one place. It drips, trickles, flows, and floods into our lives in different ways. Welcome to Drip, Trickle, Flow, Flood, a podcast that explores the power of multiple income streams. We've got merch. That's right. Drip, Trickle, Flow, Flood t-shirts are officially here, and they're as comfy as they are conversation starting. Grab yours at the link in our show notes. Today, we are super excited. We have Tristin with us. She's a food photographer, recipe developer, and founder of Fresh Flavorful. She's got a background in small business consulting and web design, and she turned her love of cooking, adventure, and photography into a thriving food content career. So awesome. Also, Tristin, I was checking out your website. I want to make everything on it, and I'm going to make your apple cookies tonight.
Oh,
So just as a side note.
really popular right now. So yes,
Okay.
that's a good one. Yeah.
Welcome. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Tristin, it's good to see you. Tristin and I know each other a little bit, so this is fun to have you on and chat. I feel like we don't cross paths very often.
No, it's been good. It's been
But
6 years or so, probably.
yeah,
I've seen
probably.
you.
But I'm always seeing your posts, and I thought that our listeners would be excited to learn about what you're doing and what your journey has been like, because you've been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. And that's a great way to describe it. It is a journey for sure. And everyone takes the journey a little different. And so, yeah.
Particularly if you started, it looks like you started quite a while back, right? Correct about that? Like
Yeah.
2013, or which to have something with that longevity when you're in like the space of content creation is pretty astounding because there are so many twists and changes. So why don't you walk us back to the starting point? So I know you have a background, as we said, in consulting and web design.
Yeah.
But how did you make that transition, or have the confidence to make that transition into the food content career?
Yeah, the confidence is a major thing, right? Because there's always that inner voice in your head that's, oh, no one wants that, or oh, it's been done before, and all of that. So that really stopped me years and years ago. It was 2007 that I graduated from Western. And so 2004, 2005, I was so into the internet, and I was a hobby photographer, a new mom going to school. And I was like, oh, I just wish that I could do something with food and photography and the internet and just stay home. And I was like, but that's not a thing. No one does that. Like Martha Stewart already has a website. No one would come to mine. Literally, it was like me and Martha Stewart. I'm like, why didn't I start back then? But there was always that voice that's like, oh, someone's already done that before. Oh, that's already been done. And back then it was literally the fact that Martha Stewart had done it that stopped me from doing it. And so I put it on the back burner for years and years. And finally it just clicked. I was like, oh, I'm going to start sharing. Like, my personal Instagram just turned into me showing pictures of my food. And I'm like, I didn't lose all my friends. Like, they don't mind. And then slowly and surely back there, I called it like the Wild West of content creator. We didn't even call it content creation back then. It wasn't even called influencing. You were just a blogger, and you were using Instagram to blog. And all of a sudden it was like people would ship me boxes full of stuff. Like, here's thousands of dollars worth of goods. Maybe if you like it, you can talk about it. And it was like, what is this? What is this? And I used to love like getting free stuff in the mail as a kid. And I felt like it was back to those days of, oh, mailbox, something's in the mail. And so that really inspired me to be like, wait a minute, maybe there's more to this, right? Maybe there's more. If they're giving me all this stuff, maybe they'd pay me. Like, how is this going to work? And so I did join a lot of, they called them like blogging networks back then, or sponsorship networks. And it was really a great way for new people to get their foot in the door. Sure, it didn't pay well, but paying anything is better than nothing. So back then you would pitch a lot of ideas, and then companies would choose someone that they like, and then you do the work. And so I thought, oh, that's fun. It was like a fun little, like a side hustle. And you're like, oh, they chose me. Yay. And then it really became my full-time job. And I was like, oh, I've got it. I've got 2 deadlines next week. I have children. It was just a lot. And then it became a business, and it was great. It was great. But then you realize, wait a minute, I'm not getting paid my worth. And of course, so we start small. We are good to work for free product. And then all of a sudden you realize, wait a minute, I'm not good to work for free product anymore. I need to level up. So that was really probably around 2018 is when I was like, no, I know my worth, and you're going to pay me my worth, and I'm not doing this for small potatoes anymore. And it's really scary to do that. But the crazy thing is that once you start respecting yourself, then other people respect you too. And they're willing to pay you that amount that seemed wild to you before. Now they're like, oh yeah, no big deal. That's in the budget. Like, oh, sweet. Okay. Is this in the budget? And then the jobs just come word of mouth. And I didn't have to do so much of that fighting on the internet through a sponsorship network. Because when I was doing all these sponsorship networks, I would spend hours and hours a day pitching ideas. And then you'd be lucky if they picked one of my 25 ideas. And now I got to create a whole commercial by myself, write the script, shoot it, edit it, everything. And bloggers were giving a lot. We were saving these people $100,000 for shooting their commercial. We're doing it for free in our backyard, and they were paying us peanuts. And so it really was hard to be in this space where no one is giving you a list of, you do this and this, you got to go out and figure it out yourself, be confident in yourself, and know how to get to that next level. So for me, that was really great. And I was doing so good right before COVID. And then when 2020 happened and everyone was at home taking videos and sharing stuff online, I was like, oh, my competition just got crazy increase, because now I do have Martha Stewart at home competing with me, shooting videos in her kitchen. And so it seemed like everybody all of a sudden was a content creator, influencer, and everything. And it was just got to be a little too much for me. So I started to step back and just do the things I wanted, and not pitching all these jobs, and just being like, I actually just want to shoot food. I want to shoot my own recipes. I want to take pictures at farm stands. And so it's evolved over time. Like, you realize what you want to do, and then you have to have the confidence, like you said, to go, okay, I'm going to jump my foot in there. I don't know if it's good or not. And then it all flows along with it. So I've gotten away from all that sponsored work with like crazy deadlines and the crazy turnarounds. And now I just do what I want, and people still pay me to do it. So it's really knowing your worth and understanding that you don't have to do things you don't want to do. And the market will come along with you if you trust it sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah. So you touched on a lot of really good things there.
Yeah.
So let's go back again to the beginning, where you're just getting started and you're pursuing a passion, and getting paid anything is better than nothing. And I think that level of going from I'm doing this for free to I'm doing this and getting paid something, that's a giant step.
It is.
Especially when it's this thing that you say, okay, I'm going to make this up and this is what I want to do. And you go from doing it because you love it to doing it because you love it and also getting paid. So I think that's a big step.
It is.
And then you mentioned know your worth, but I think there is an important line there in between of figure out how to get paid, establish that value, then maybe establish your worth. Do you agree with that?
Totally. And I feel like what really helps with that is finding someone who recognizes your value. And even so a lot of times it's like a company with a good brand behind it. So then it helps you feel more confident. You're like, oh my gosh, Nestle likes what I'm doing. Like, they're going to pay me. And then the more that those things happen, the more confident you become. But then other people look at you different when they see that you've got those things under your belt. And so then they trust you more. And then that helps build up your own confidence as well. And it reiterates the fact that, yes, okay, I am valuable. This is where I'm supposed to be, that sort of thing. Yeah, but it's scary. And that's why it's not really for everyone. Being an entrepreneur is very hard. And I don't come by it naturally. I like to have a little gold sticker that someone says, yay, you did so good. You got an A+ today. And when you're an entrepreneur, you got to do that for yourself. And it's hard, and it's not for everyone.
Yeah, those compliments can be few and far between. A lot of times it's just solving problems.
Yeah. I almost went back to a corporate career for that very reason many years ago.
They're like, you did a good job, or no, you didn't, but at least there's someone giving you that feedback.
Yes. Right? Losing that validation is rough. Yes.
Yeah. And then I feel like, so a lot of people who do what I do, they are way more active on social media, right? And it's hard because that helps validate what you're doing, but it also is hard because there's so much comparison happening on there, or it changes so quickly and you're just feeling like you're just trying to keep your head above water to stick with the trends. And then you start to lose focus on the things that actually gave you joy and sparked your creativity and actually inspire me to create if all I'm doing is dancing on TikTok. So like, I really don't do that stuff. I'm what they call like a slow blogger. I just do what I want and I don't worry about jumping through all the hoops. And sure, maybe I haven't progressed as far as some other people have or whatever, but that's what works for me and my family.
So why don't you explain a little bit more? You said you'd pitch these ideas, get these jobs. Can you give us an example of what that would have looked like?
So there's various networks online that you can join, and they used to call them sponsorship networks. And I'm not even sure what they call them nowadays. They're probably influencer networks or content creator networks or things like that. But it would have just different companies who recognize the fact that blogging, social media, and this is where people are getting their info from now. And rather than doing a TV commercial, even back then in 2015, 2016, they were like, let's get these bloggers to talk about us. So they work with a marketing company and they would put out a call like, hey, we are looking for 5 people to give us content about, let's just think of anything like Annie's organic cheese or salad dressings or anything like that. I've worked with them before. And they're like, hey, what ideas you got? And you have to be like, okay, I'm going to look at the timeline. I'm going to figure out what trends are going to be hitting in 6 months. And I'm going to pitch them 5 ideas around these different trends. And you spend a lot of time doing that, right? But what feels good is when you open that email and they go, oh, yeah, Annie's loved that idea. And here we go. We need you to get it to us by, a lot of times it's tight deadlines when we're working through those networks, super tight deadlines and lots of deliverables. But you just do it and you give it to them. And I love it because it's very contract oriented, very business oriented when you're dealing with those huge companies rather than the mom and pop store downtown.
So were you giving, so you're making videos, coming up with recipes, what are
photos,
you delivering
and
them?
it changes. They're either like, hey, we want you to post on TikTok and Instagram, or we want you to give us 20 photos and you don't even need to post about it at all. The deliverables are all different based on the company you're working for. But yeah, so a lot of my earlier work was all sponsored work, and I didn't write anything on my website about the stuff that actually I loved. I was just chasing those networks to see what companies would pay me for. I'm like, sure, I'll write about whatever it is. If you like it, I'll do it. And the money's good. But for me, it's hard for me to balance my responsibilities with my family, my other job, and then having these tight deadlines. So that's really a lot of the reason I got out of that.
So you're still working another job and doing this. And so what's this podcast? We talk about income streams a lot. So you're creating, it seems like you found different ways to create income streams with Fresh Flavorful, but then also within your family, you're creating multiple income streams.
And I love that you called that out. Absolutely. And I've always been like very diversified with what I do. So just to share with you a little bit, my husband and I have been entrepreneurs since we first got together in different various things. Right now, we own a plastic company and we have a contract with Boeing. So very industrial, I just do the office work. He does the work. And I was doing blogging. There's times where aerospace and industry is doing really good. And I don't need to work so much during those times. But then, like in 2020, when COVID shut everything down, we didn't work for 6 months. Or if Boeing goes on strike, we won't get paid. It'll be like 9 months between paychecks with him. So that's wild. And that's where he's like, oh, I'm so glad you're still doing this blogging. And so then even within blogging, I have various income streams. So the big one is selling ad space on my website. And then, so that's just happening. We talk about that passive income. That's the goal, right? I love to work 5 years ago and still be making money on it now. So like the apple cookies you mentioned, I think I made those last year or maybe 2 years ago. And sometimes you don't see traffic for a while. It takes a while for Google to pick it up. And now this year, I'm making more money on those cookies than I have on anything else, just from that passive income from the ad space. Yeah, Diversify, the fact that we own an industrial company and then a creative company, it goes back and forth. And it really, I'm going to say it again, but during 2020, it was very obvious. It was like, oh, wow, people are loving this online cooking shows and stuff. And we're not doing anything with the industrial thing. And so I think diversification is really important. Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that, Tristin, what you just mentioned. I like to think of content creation as a bit of a lottery sometimes. Where you have to create a bulk of it, a lot of it until something hits. Like your apple cookies. There
Absolutely.
you go.
We're fishing for views and attention, and you never know what's going to catch. Yeah.
Yes. So I'd love to hear a little bit about that because we definitely have a lot of folks who listen to us who want one of their revenue streams to be content creation.
Okay.
But I think there's a bit of, I don't want to say confusion necessarily, but I think it's good for people to know what that entails. And it's not just, I'm going to send a pitch email and they're going to say yes. It's not just, I'm going to make this apple cookie recipe and it's going to blow up.
Yeah.
Also, all the admin that along with that kind of thing. So I'd love to hear a little bit of your experience with that and how you keep going because it's not always an upward trajectory. There's a lot of dips and slumps. It's a roller coaster.
Yep. And we really saw that in the blogging community. Google has thrown things off. AI has thrown things way loop into everybody. There's people who were making $1 million a year who now had to go back to work and they're not making that money anymore. And so it's constantly changing. It is very scary. But wait, what was the original question? Shoot, where was I?
Yeah, just talking about like the efforting that goes in behind the scenes.
Yeah. So not only just coming up with the rest, but we're planning things, especially for me. I'm posting things that are 4 months away from when I want you guys to care about them. So right now I'm looking at into December and January. And so every year I sit down, I make a calendar and I'm like, okay, these are my fall recipes. These are my spring. And I try to just map it out, but it's all based on stuff that I actually love. So I'm inspired by going out to eat. Bellingham has the best food, Skagit Valley. You have to still go out and live your life to get those things that you're inspired by and then bring it back and realize like, which of these are going to resonate with my people or what's new that people don't know about. That's really big for me. I hate to just regurgitate the same thing. I want to give people new stuff, but there's really nothing new anymore. So at some point you have to drop that pressure on yourself to constantly be creating new things. And it's okay to share chocolate ganache. It's not an original recipe. Maybe my people have never seen it before. So that is a big thing for people, is to drop that pressure and the comparison. And it's okay to do something that you were inspired by someone else that you saw. It's okay. But also, yeah, just like I said, planning out your content. So hey, these are the 12 recipes I'm going to share this year. And this is when I want them to hit so that they will be in the right eyes at the right time. Typically, it takes about 2 or 3 months after you post for Google, Pinterest, everyone to pick it up. And so really got to be working a season ahead, which is difficult also, because then I'm like, I want to be thinking Halloween right now, but I'm actually thinking Christmas and New Year's right now. And so it's just that balance. And also in the beginning of the year, I always sit down and I look at food trends, predicted food trends for the year coming up, just to try to see, are any of these trends fit things that I actually like? Like, I'm not pulling the trends out of nowhere. I'm fitting them with my own likes. And so it's real content for my people. And that's where you find that you actually make that passive income, when you can get all of those things correct. You can get the right recipe at the right time and then push it out there to everyone. That's where you really do see that income stream come in.
Okay, I want to dig into your site here a little bit. We're recording this before Halloween, I guess 2 days before. It's going to air after, so people are going to probably want to go to your website for Thanksgiving or something. But it's called let's see, charcoal. Oh no, charcoal is what it's made with. I'm scrolling back up at the top here. This full moon teeny, a black Halloween cocktail. Tell me about putting
so much passive income over the last 5 years. That one is a huge moneymaker for me. And what's really funny about that, I had a Halloween party.
Where do you get?
Oh, well, how I came up with that is
where do you get charcoal and you just dump it in your?
Yeah, it's food grade charcoal. But what's also funny about that recipe is when you ingest charcoal, it stops you from it stops your body from, it detoxes you. Like when people they give them charcoal to make them get rid of it. So if you drink that charcoal cocktail, you will never even get a buzz. It's the crazy.
That's good to know.
Yes, Wait, it's great. I love it. But it's just so funny what resonates and what hits with people. But that one I wasn't even going to put on my website, but I had a party and everyone loved it. And so I thought, shoot, I'm going to take a picture really quick of it. And a lot of times it's those ones where I'm like, I wasn't planning it out. It wasn't a part of my calendar. I didn't have any plans of doing it. And I just was like, oh, shoot, I'm going to take a picture really quick. And I threw it out there and it's hit every year. It goes viral. And so I'm like, oh, cool. So I guess there is a balance between all those planned things and then just these really quick, I made that for dinner, I should probably take a picture of it, sort of thing. And
so it looks like you
don't know.
It was originally published in 2023 or 2020.
Yep.
And then you modified it in 2023. And so I guess 2 things. One, you can just go to the grocery store and buy food grade charcoal off the shelf.
You can go to Amazon for sure.
It's in Whole
Foods. Maybe
at
Whole Foods.
Yeah, they have it. It's pretty widely available now.
That's funny. I'm not a big, I don't know, I cook like the same 10 things. And then, so are all the pictures on your website yours?
Yes. Yeah, that's abnormal. Most people, if you go to their websites, there are people who just shoot photos and they take other people's recipes and they get paid just to shoot their photos.
I see.
And so a lot of food bloggers they even buy their recipes from other people. A lot of it is farmed out. And then the bigger sites you go to, I'm sure you guys can all think of different food bloggers or content creators. They are not doing anything. They are running a corporation. They are the president of the corporation, and they pay everyone to do everything. And it's huge teams. So I feel like a lot of that became a lot more popular after 2020. So it's just the level of who I'm competing with has changed a little bit. But
I'm gonna see if I can find some charcoal before Friday to dump in people's drinks.
Are you guys having a party?
We're going to one.
Yeah, everyone will be sober Sally's. It'll be great.
I'm going to turn everybody to drink black.
That's so cool. How did you learn? Because these are a lot of skills that you needed to acquire to do all of this. Like you said, I've had clients before who have run food blogs and they fell in those categories you were talking about where they're like whitelisting things and using other recipes or maybe farming out the recipes. You do everything. So
I do.
How did you acquire those skills? Did you take classes? Did you just practice?
I've always been a photographer. Even when I was in high school, I was like the girl who was taking photos of every sport. I was doing all the yearbook photography. They created like a photography class just for me. So I've always really been into photography, even before digital cameras. But so then it really taught me the basics of photography. And then I think really what pushed me towards this is I had a baby. I was young when I had my first daughter. I was a month away from 21. And so I was young and I did always loved Martha Stewart. I watched a lot of Martha Stewart, a lot of Food Network. And I was just like, it gives you that desire to just do homey things, I think, when you're a mom. And especially me being so young, I had a lot of energy. I was like, oh, let's do all the things. And so I think that's where I learned a lot of the cooking skills. I'd already had the photography skills. And then I also have a degree in computer science. So that really helped. And I graduated in 2007. And so it was before a lot of this, even. It was the beginning of talking about SEO and search engine optimization and all of that stuff. So this was a way of, these are all three of I love computers, I love photography, and I love homemaking. And so it was just a way that all the things came together. As far as the skills go, there's always someone who's going to willing to take your money to teach you these things you need for blogging. Unfortunately, a lot of those people are successful because of the courses and they're not really successful in the outright. So it's hard to know where do you get your info and what do you do? And most of it is literally just trial and error. You just trial and error. And you have to be comfortable with being that kind of person who's going to do something and it might fail and it might work. But yeah, it's hard to find someone to teach you these things because they're all people who are just making money by teaching. And it's hard to know who your experts really are.
That is very accurate. And that's a legitimate income stream for some folks, of course. That's totally fine. But I think there has to be some... You have to disclose if you're saying I'm making X that it's coming from the teaching and not from the way that you're making the money. And on that note, has that ever been an income stream you've been interested in? Or are there other income streams that as you continue ahead, you'd want to build with this platform?
Gosh, that's a great question. I love teaching people. I think that also is a part of why I started doing this. I've always been I wanted to teach people. I love to level people up and teach them things. And so I think that would be great, but I just have so many ideas of things that I would do already for my website that I don't have time to do, that creating a course is not really in the books for me. And also there are so many amazing people that are willing to give you the information for free, that those are usually the valuable people. Those are, unfortunately, you just have to know who to find. And there are amazing podcasts that you can listen to, all of that stuff you don't have to pay for. So I suggest most of the time, unless it's someone that I really know and I trust and value their information, I always tell people just save your money, don't do the courses. Yeah.
So one of your income streams for your website is ad revenue. People just come in and perusing. The other, are you still working with like corporate clients and doing that?
I am, but I've stepped back. So now I'm dealing with people who just come to me rather than me going out there and pitching. So building those relationships. One of my most favorite people I work with is Genuine Gadget Valley. And I just visit farm stands and they pay me to write recipes with the food that's at the farm stands. And for me, I'm like, boom, the money might not be as much as when I'm working with Hershey's, But you know what? The value is so much better for me. And I care about those people and I care about that area. And it's just what makes my heart happy. So I think that at some point, like the trade-off between money and doing what you love, I'll take less money to do something I love. And so I start to build those clients. And then really, that's what I love. My passion is the photography of it. That's what I really love. So I'm working on a cookbook coming up. I'm just shooting for someone else rather than my own cookbook. And I'm super excited about that. So there's so many different ways that people can make money in this business, and they don't have to do it all. Like you can focus on what you really like to do.
Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom in that statement.
Yeah.
That you don't necessarily, when you're young and trying to figure out where you're going and what you're doing and feed the family and figure out how to get ahead, sometimes it's tough to even be in a mental space where you could find that wisdom.
Yeah.
But to get to that place where you say, you know what, exchanging some of the money or getting paid less compensation to do what you love.
Yeah.
That's awesome. It's a great place to be in. And it's just to have
there's still the comparisons out there. So we all started with people at a certain time. And then I see some people, I'm like, oh my gosh, she just shot a cookbook for Padma, launched me. Like, what? I want to do it. So it's hard to realize, no, it's okay. You're not as far ahead as that person because they put more time and energy into it or whatever it is. And we all do things on our own time. So that's hard.
And and that's okay, right? If you want to just grind, the opportunities are there. That part of it's that, what do you want your life to be like? How much stress do you want to take? How much is enough?
Yeah. Or how much time away from your children? Because if I'm constantly like creating fake parties while my kids are over there going, we hate this. What's the point? What's the point? And people can see through that too. They know, they're like, it's fake. And so I think that really, and then a lot of times when you're chasing that grind, you don't go do the things that actually that made you inspired in the first place. So if you're constantly grinding, you're never going out and going on vacation or going to the beach or going out to eat and getting inspired, the things that made you start the job in the first place. So, yeah.
Yeah, I know I am far more inspired. I write more, I'm more creative, all those things when I'm not just on the hamster wheel, staying over and over, getting out, shaking it up.
And I think we can all see those people. Like we can tell that's real. They're showing us what they really love versus they're just doing this to pump out something else tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love what you said too, Tristin, about you have multiple income streams, which is what this whole podcast is about. In that construct, you're genuinely not going all in onto one income stream. So yes, is there someone who is your competitor who has landed this cookbook deal? Sure. But as you said, it's like, it's more realistic in their construct simply because they have one revenue. That's the one thing they're going after versus you've diversified. So it's not wrong or bad, or good or bad, or wrong or right. Different. It's different. And it's like an intentional choice, which I think is really cool because you chose to say, no, I want my life to be this. And would I like that opportunity someday? Sure. But I'm not willing to like sacrifice my time with my kids and all of this. And I love that I have a diversified makeup of my income.
What's so great is my part-time job, I work at Starbucks, supervisor, barista. And so I'm at Starbucks for 20 hours a week, just talk. Oh my gosh, it's so much. And then I get to come home and be in my little hole and sit on my computer and be a computer troll and not talk to anybody. So it's like such a great balance. And is it easy? No, absolutely not. It's not easy. But does it work? Absolutely, it works.
That's a fun makeup. I always say, honestly, I have like little dreams. Like, I just want to be a barista.
We're always hiring. No.
Yeah. And I think that's awesome to have, all these different income streams, and they're coming from different places and they're giving you different things. Lindsay, my wife, she worked at a local coffee shop for a while, and it was as much of, I want to get out of the house and go interact with people and do those things, because she's also a head down solo entrepreneur a lot of the time. And it is good to get out there and talk to people and then just have that consistent income where if you show up and put in the time, that Starbucks check is most likely
going to be there. And for people who are not natural entrepreneurs, I am absolutely not. I've been forced into this over my life with my husband, but not having that paycheck is so hard. And that's what stops a lot of people from jumping into this all the way, because it's really hard to not have that money coming in where you can depend on it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I think that's great insight. And the fact that you're able to both pursue your passion, have this other family business with your husband, and then have this other job that it's a more of a consistent thing is it's an interesting balance that, yeah, a lot of people say, oh, I don't do this because I couldn't afford to do it, or I still got to pay rent or whatever. You can just get started, start getting paid in some way, whatever. And like you're doing is do it on your own terms.
Yep.
And those own terms are different for everybody.
And they're always changing.
They're always
you don't really
changing.
know. You're like, if I didn't know that wasn't for me until I did it. And I was like, oh, that's not for me. And so it's okay to constantly be changing what you do too. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Tristin, this was amazing. Thank you for sharing all your wisdom with us. I love learning about your business and your background. Now I'm inspired. I want to go.
Perfect.
You might get my application.
I know. Maybe instead of I'll go do something. You guys got me inspired. I'm ready to work again.
It'll be I'll come and apply at Starbucks so I can have I feel like it would make my social 5 hours a week, work one shift.
Yeah. That would be nice.
Social hour. But thank you so much. This was so awesome. We'll make sure that we share all of your links with everyone so they can come and check you out and make your charcoal martini and apple cookies and all the other wonderful things. So if you enjoyed this episode of Drip, Trickle, Flow, Flood, please rate and review on your favorite podcast platform, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.